Good evening. It is March 25th, 2025, and I'm watching this documentary on Scientology. And a lot of their terms, their terminology, the things that they do sounds a lot like gangstalking. So it's not just Masons, Freemasonry. Scientology is also a part of, I guess you can say, gang stalking. Anything that any organization that has a lot of money, that has a lot of power, is basically involved. But listen to this. Let me see if I can pull it back up.
Asked Paulette Cooper to join us today.
Hello.
Welcome. Paulette is a journalist.
I am.
You were one of the first people to write a story about Scientology, but you were then fair gamed in a way
Fair
that
game.
is so disgusting. I want people to hear from you what happened. You had a friend who got into Scientology.
It was very popular at the time, probably about 150,000 members. I spoke to someone who had left, and he started telling me that he had gotten some death threats. Little did I realize that soon I was the one that was going to be getting death threats. And my book came out. It was called The Scandal of Scientology. And it was the strongest thing that anybody had written or said about them.
Right.
So it became all barrels against me. They sued me 19 times. I had 19 lawsuits that I personally had to defend all over the world.
How do you defend yourself against 18 lawsuits?
What's saying in 1944?
I don't know how you can simply afford it.
I figured out just recently that it's cost over $50,000 for paying legal fees.
And I was a freelance writer. I was in debt for so many years afterwards. And every cent I made went to lawyers. Every week there was some other awful thing that they would do. I moved to a new building with 300 tenants. They all got a letter saying that someone has moved in who is a part-time prostitute with venereal disease.
Right.
They found out that I had gone through a period of depression and had gone to a psychiatrist.
That's her smear
They
campaign.
went into the psychiatrist's office, stole the records, sent it around to people. I was so trusting that I met a man who moved in with me,
Okay.
and for 5 months I lived with him.
Okay.
And I only found out years later that he was calling in every single thing I said or did or wore even so that they could follow me and find
So
me.
He was a plant.
He was a Scientologist. Then wait, it gets worse. They stole my stationery. They wrote themselves 2 bomb threats. They called the FBI and said that they thought I had done it.
Wow.
And there it is, my stationery. They got my fingerprint. I was indicted. I was arrested. I was up for 15 years in jail. I had this over my head for 8 months that I was going to be absolutely ruined in a very public trial. I was totally innocent, but people thought I did it.
People thought she did it.
Nobody believed me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I went down to 83 pounds. I was in such terrible state. Who wouldn't be?
Right.
People thought I was the crazy one,
Right.
sending them bomb threats.
Hear
Nobody
this.
believed me.
By the way, Paulette, if I had heard your story being a
Right.
Scientologist, I'd go, this
Right.
girl is crazy. This
Yeah,
woman's
that's
nuts. She's out of her mind. And I would have been provided a folder
Yes.
of intel on you
Yes.
about your depression, being on psychiatric drugs, that you were insane, couldn't be trusted. And so Scientologists who are good people would be like, oh, she is crazy.
Right.
She's making all of this up.
The idea was to either get me in a mental institution or jail, so no one would believe me.
Right.
It didn't work. In 1977, the FBI raided Scientology.
It was early this morning when FBI agents entered and searched 3 Scientology offices, one of them in Washington, the other 2 here in Los Angeles.
And they found all these documents pertaining to a woman named Miss Lovely. And that was my code name. And they would say things like, we sued her successfully this week, we got her arrested this week, and finally people believe me.
The documents came out, and there it is in their own writing. This is what we're doing to them.
Right. So when it was found that the church
Okay.
was engaging in what they call fair game, was anybody indicted on their side?
Well, there was a grand jury, but they wouldn't testify, and they didn't plead the Fifth, they pleaded the First Amendment. And somebody even went to jail for 8 months rather than reveal what they had done to me. And the judge realized that they would stay in jail for the rest of their lives, so they let them go. And nobody ever paid any real penalty except for me.
Right.
And we did sue.
So him, the guy that's on the screen right now, his name is Mike Reiner. He recently passed away. There's an episode I wanted to record him too. He had cameras they planted cameras outside of his house. He was followed. They paid the trash man to go through his trash. He even got it on camera where they took the trash that the trash man picked up and put in the dumpster. They put it in the trunk. He got it on camera. So all of this sounds a lot like gang stalking. I just wanted to get that on camera.